The water utility? The water utility has had an odd history. When I arrived in 1989, the utility was looking at major capital expenditures for filtration projects, which we accomplished. At that point in time, the utility was transferring $90,000 to the municipal budget. We needed $3 to $4 million in filtration projects. One of my first official acts was to recommend to eliminate the transfer and increase the rate 16%, which we did in 1989. We did not take a rate increase for about another 17 years. I think 5 years ago we started the transfer at a meager $50,000. Now we're at $300,000. We're making a significant transfer. In addition, we're putting excellent work into the ground with water main replacements for $500,000 to $600,000 a year. Once again, we're at a point where we need significant rate increases. The number that I'm going to be recommending the council is 18.5%. 18.5% will generate $300,000 approximately in incremental surplus, and we will be able to do precisely what we need. Operate the electric utility, transfer to the municipal budget, and fund capital projects without bonding.
And I think the enhancement to that is to establish an ordinance that introduces the concept of that increase, and then will be indexed with a cost of living adjustment or some index that there'll be an annual adjuster, so we won't need to come back to the governing body each year for a rate adjustment. They will just adjust the rate as the cost of living and the cost of providing a service goes up. It will just index itself from year to year to year to year in smaller pieces.
And just for the homeowner, the 18% sounds shocking, but the typical homeowner's water bill is fairly small, so 18% is going to be mainly felt by the Drew universities, other major water users, people running sprinklers nonstop and things like that. So your typical homeowner would see, if this is what goes forward with 18%, would see a very small dollar increase.
I will provide you also with about 8 or 10 comparable municipalities, what their water rates are.
And it'd be good to have the typical homeowner use, typical industrial use, or commercial use in Madison.
And fortunately, we're not discussing that at this moment, but we understand where your projection is.
Correct. Okay, these next schedules you've seen on many occasions. These aren't anything new. Once again, this is just to show you the aggressive use by the council of our surpluses to mitigate the tax increases to the taxpayer. The recommended for 09 is going to be at $5 million. But as you can see, the progression was significant. And one of the reasons for this, one of the main reasons for this is we have about 22 different types of non-taxable municipal revenues. That excludes the state aid. So what we have really is a real, if you want to look at it from this perspective, a real balanced portfolio of revenues. We haven't pushed them way up. We haven't pushed them to the point where we can't continue to at least receive those funds. But actually, there's only one that has gone backwards, which is the health contracts. But court fines, sale of licenses, sales of permits, interest income, all of these different revenues, the cell tower leases, we just have transfers from the water utility. We have an excellent portfolio of non-taxable municipal revenues. I want to keep it that way. I'd like to increase those. I'd like to generate new ones. But this is one of the good reasons why we were able to continue to do this. The next schedule. Just once again, I haven't shown it this way before. Now I'm showing you the percentage increases. And once again, as you can see, councils were very aggressive in holding down tax increases. From the year 1993 through 2005, there were 6 tax decreases, and some of the tax increases were not even above the rate of inflation. So the councils have been very, very, very good, taking the proper action with regards to the taxpayers.
Robert, in terms of that strategy, how does that impact the tax levy cap?
Well, it worked against us. Worked against us because we held the tax levy down, which is very responsible. But the 4% tax levy is on a much smaller base. It's less than 50% of our appropriations. We're having this year, because of the health insurance, primarily the spending cap levy is always going to be a problem. It's permanently going to be a problem. We're, for example, let's use just $25 million as an example. $25 million of spending appropriations at the cap would be. I discussed this with Jeannie earlier. We could increase the cap by, it's 3.5% of the inside the cap plus the. You're allowed to increase your inside cap spending by the amount of new ratables multiplied by the municipal tax rate. So this year, Jeannie, what was it, like $660,000?
Yes, 660.
660. All right, so 660 we're allowed to increase the spending cap. But if we're taxing for $13 million at 4%, that's 520. There's an imbalance. There's a permanent imbalance in there. So it's going to be a challenge to meet the spending cap and at the same time meet the tax levy cap. We still have some room. We still have some room, okay, in the non-municipal tax revenues, but for every $1 you increase it, you reduce the surplus. Okay? And then the next schedule, once again, you've seen this before. When we include the year 2009 in here, it really, really paints quite a picture here. If you look at the very bottom line, you see the percentage increase from 1992 to 2008, rather. The appropriations grew 70%. The tax levy went up 48%, and in order for the tax levy to only go up 48%, we had to increase the non-taxable revenues by twice that amount. And as I indicated, we're at a stage right now where that is very difficult to continue.
I'm letting the record reflect Mr. Dunham has arrived.
Thank you.
Next item. Once again, you've seen this. The purpose of this schedule is really just to indicate what a superb job that the council has done with holding down the tax levy. From 1994 through, inclusive of 2008, the tax levy has never been 49.2 cents for every $1. It's never happened. Even with, and obviously the non-taxable revenues were 50 cents or more on the dollar. What is recommended for 2009 is slightly more than 50%, which is still less than it